Welcome to Tactical Talk. This is Zain. Tensions are rising in the eastern Mediterranean, and escalation is predicted between Turkey and Greece. Today, the topic revolves around as to why this is happening. Today, our first guest joining us from northern Cyprus is a prominent scholar and intellectual, Dr. Emete Gözügüzelli. Our second guest is a journalist, Ilker Sezer. He will be joining us from Istanbul. Welcome to our show, Dr. Emete. This is Zain Khan. It is a pleasure having you on Tactical Talk.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to our show, Ilker Sezer. It is a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Emete, I want to get to a very technical question. Please summarize in a few minutes the history of the Cyprus conflict, since you're a scholar on the subject.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, the Cyprus question is just too complex question. You know that, and it has been continue since the 1963, at least when the Greek Cypriot side decided to attack the Turkish Cypriots because of some amendments they offered to change the constitution to reduce the Turkish Cypriots into the minority group. So they refused, the Turkish Cypriots refused to be a minority because they are the co-founder status in the island, and they are the equal partner of the island, and they have the right as it is obvious that the question is a complex problem which has a long turbulent history, and going back to actually the 15th century when the Ottoman conquered the island, because some Hellenistic or some nationalist movements from Greece, they create the Hellenistic idea, and they believe that the island belonged to the Greek side. So after that national aspiration, the problem became cracks, because they want to release from Ottoman, and they are in conflict with the Turkish Cypriots. And during even the British period, it was the same. And nothing has changed in the partnership period in the 1960s, and only 3 years lived the partnership state. But after that, everything started to change, because they create a secret plan, Akritas plan, and they wanted to get a whole island. They wanted to domain the whole island and to reduce the Turkish Cypriots into minority group. So that's why they attacked, or they used the genocide against the Turkish Cypriots. And the Turkish intervention, why the Turkish intervention happened, the 15th July 1974, the Greek coup d'etat happened in the island. And these nationalistic and terrorist groups attacked most of the people, and they killed the Greek Cypriots, also even the Turkish Cypriots in the island. And after that, Turkey used its intervention right with arising from the international law. The guarantee treaty gives a right to Turkey to intervene the island, because it's Turkey, it's a guaranteed power of the whole island still. So today, from the peace operation until now, many negotiations held. They try to create a federation. They try to find a political solution. Most of the time, Turkish Cypriots, of course, showed its goodwill and the political will to reach a federal solution with Turkey. But, during the Annan Plan process, also in 2004, the Greek side again refused any solution in the basis of the federal solution. So that's why today we're now discussing the new models with Turkish Cypriots and the Turkey in the island, because we believe that the federal solution is end. Because the Greek Cypriot side continues to show they are just like sole authority on the island, and they refuse the Turkish Cypriot authority. They refuse our equal status, equal rights. So still we see the same position in the past they show. So, if you want to reach any agreement with your partner, you should show your goodwill. This is the main rule in the international law. So, of course, Turkish Cypriots and even Turkey put its own goodwill during that process since the 1967 when the intercommunal talks started until now. Many efforts did by the Turkey and the Turkish Cypriots, and at the end, we are in the same place. They refuse to our political equality still. They refuse our equal partnership, or they refuse the power sharing, sovereign power sharing with us. They try to give us a minority rights. This is not reflects the realities because the 1960 partnership, it was the clear. It shows the 1960 treaties, 1960 partnership. It was a basis on the two equal partners. One side is Turkish Cypriots and the other side is Greek Cypriots. But, the Hellenistic ideology still continues. That's why they refuse still our political equality. So that is the power sharing, actually. That's why it is complex. So we will see what will happen after the election of the Turkish Cypriots. That, in October, we have a presidential election, and we will see who will win. At the end, we will start to discuss which model is the best for us because, we are recognized state as a Turkish Cypriot state in the Islamic Cooperation Union. We have some models, we have a chance to pursue our rights in the international arena because until now, we only focus the federal solution. But now it is time to change our position, and it is time to it is time for the international community to make a true diagnosis on the Cyprus question. It is not the sole sovereignty which they call the Republic of Cyprus, and they try to show themselves as a unique authority. It not reflects the reality because there are two equal partners of the island. So Cyprus question is an international dispute. So that's why international community should make sense again the issue.
Ilker Sezer, you're a journalist. You might have a different perspective. Do you agree with what Dr. Emete just said? And also, what is the current situation of the Cyprus conflict?
Well, I agree most of the things that Honorable Lady said on when it comes to the history of the Cyprus issue. She knows more than me because she is an expert on it. And especially, the core of the problem is the refusal by the Greek side to share any power. And we have seen this in the past. In 1974, the coup d'etat to tie the island to the Greek side and refuse the rights of the Turkish side, and also the Annan plan about a federation of two states, a new country. There was a referendum in the Turkish side and Greece side, and the Greek side was the one who refused to share a power with the Turkish side. So the current situation, Cyprus crisis, is probably about the operations. Greek Cyprus again refuses the rights of the Turkish Cyprus side in any gas deal or in any exploration deal, and also tries to take some areas from the Turkish exclusive economic zone. The same policy is in line with the Greek policy. Also, Greek side claims an expansionist policy and taking over some Turkish regions from the Turkish economic zone. So actually, they follow the same political line with the Greek side. When it comes to the gas deal, So after 1974, it was the moment that defined the current situation of the Cyprus crisis. But when it comes to the recent gas explorations, it's a new crisis popped up of the region. So Turkey has always been open to the talks. If you see today, East Mediterranean Gas Forum, 6 countries in the region, excluding Turkey, they formally established a gas forum, and also some of the countries that are members in the gas forum, they have some disputed arguments to exclude the country that has the widest in the East Mediterranean. It is your gas forum is I mean, it doesn't have a good feature probably, because you are refusing the rights of the country which has the longest coastline. So Turkey is open any offer probably from this gas forum to be included on the base of fair share, but we need to see and expect any possible and positive steps from these countries in the region.
Dr. Emete, I want to ask you this important question. Why is there sudden news of military exercises in the region? I just read last week that it was happening. Are these signs of escalation according to your opinion?
Thank you very much. Yes, this is the critical question. So actually, we can say that firstly, the Eastern Mediterranean has been a critical zone for Turkey, for Turkish Cypriots, and of course for the region. Why military activities? Sometimes we hear some military activities because Turkey show its determinants, which will not let any fait accompli in the region. Why? Because in the internet you can find many maps related to exclusive economic zone, and one map which shows that, and or called that the Sevilla map, and it is the very maximalist, and it reflects the excessive maritime claims of Greece and the Greek Cypriot side. And some of them, they try to use, or the Greece policy or the Greek Cypriot policy, try to use an force which they have a right over that areas, over that maritime zones, which reflects the excessive maritime claims. So it is not suitable with the international law. It not reflects the rules of the international law, especially in the case of the law of sea. So, during that process, when the crisis erupted, if we come back to 2003, it started with the Greek Cypriot side when they decided to create or establish a so-called exclusive economic zone. They started to make this delimitation agreement. Then, with this delimitation agreement, first, they violate the western part of the Turkish continental shelf, and secondly, they violate the Turkish Cypriot rights, and they refuse that because before the solution of the Cyprus question, they moved the problem into the sea. That was the clear. So this is important thing. After that process, Greek Cypriot side start to jeopardize and the hamper of the situation by the starting of the hydrocarbon activities in 2007. Then after that process, they invited the many global energy companies into the region for drilling or to making some seismic survey. After the process, or during that process, actually, Turkey put its goodwill, and the Turkish Cypriot state also put its goodwill, and they recalled. They called the Greek Cypriot sites should end their activities and concentrate the Cyprus problem, but they refused it. After that, Turkey decided to make a delimitation agreement with Turkish Cyprus in 2011. And after that delimitation, they decided to make another agreement over the hydrocarbon activities. So that's why the Orus seismic vessel moved the region, and then now we see our vessels in the Eastern Mediterranean, because we have two problems. The Greek Cypriot sides, one side try to violate the Turkish Cypriot rights, and the other side they try to violate the Turkish continental shelf. So in this context, I would like to mention some important things which mentioned in the international law. The maritime limit and the maritime delimitation, it's two different concepts. When we look at this distinction, we should say that the establishment of the limits is by its nature a unilateral act. The Sevilla map is an unilateral it reflects the unilateral decisions of the Greek Cypriots or the European Union or the Greece side, which has not universal character. It's not binding for everyone, because it was a maritime limit. That's why today USA embassy in Ankara explained that the Sevilla map is not reflects reality, or it is not based on the legal sense, because Turkey acting in the context of the international law. So maritime, that's why not binding for everyone. But Turkey did a maritime delimitation agreement with Turkish Cypriot, and also did another maritime delimitation agreement with Libya. That's why Turkey moved to the region. Also, Turkey submitted its geographical coordinates into the United Nations Secretary General Council and published here. And all details are you can find here. But Greece, they didn't publish any geographical coordinates. So how they can get a right to speak over their over the maritime zones, which belongs to the Turkish, which belongs to the Turkey? So in the end, Turkey has been demonstrating its constructive approach to the peaceful solution of the current issues, in the Eastern Mediterranean, under the NATO auspices, the negotiation process started for the escalation of the military conflict possible military conflict in Eastern Mediterranean. But now they will focus on the extraordinary negotiations between Greece. Turkey and Greece will start this negotiation. So this is the important things, I think, to concentrate again the negotiation or the normalization of the process. But still, I am not confident the Greece's policies over that issues, because sometimes we hear some extraordinary or some racist policies against the Turkey. We hear sometimes in their newspaper or in social media, we see that some maximalist ideas still continues. They try to be alive this ideology, but international courts until that time explained these things. The land dominates the sea. Turkey has a longest coast in the Eastern Mediterranean. So that's why the principles of the domination stands with Turkey. This is the clear, and the international courts until now decided that islands don't generate full maritime zones. This is the proved with many examples in the international court, which some islands received no effect. In many cases, you can see, for example, the Eritrea Yemen case, Qatar Bahrain case, or some continental shelf case, Tunis and Libya case, or Malta. You can find many court decisions which in many cases, islands don't generate full maritime zones. Why? Because it depends on the geographical conditions. It depends on the coastal lengths, the direction of the coast. It depends on the place of any island which they claim the full maritime zone. Then we should look at the geography, because the superiority of the geography is an important thing. So that's why Turkey tried to use sometimes the gunboat diplomacy during that time, but before using the gunboat diplomacy, we should remember that firstly, the Greece sent their military vessels into the Eastern Mediterranean. That's why Turkey decided to send its military ships into the area for protection its own state vessels, because the Hurriyet is a state vessel. This is the important, because Turkey should protect it. So that's why Turkey used the gunboat diplomacy in this area, because the provocations and some aggressive policy used by the Greece with making some international exercises, search and rescue, for example, called search and rescue exercises with the international actors against Turkey. They show some activities, so they give some message against Turkey. So, of course, Turkey will not any fait accompli in the region, at least for its rights and for the Turkish Cypriot rights.
Ilker Sezer, you're a journalist. You study both sides of the story. Turkey was drilling in the area. Are Greek concerns logical, according to your opinion?
Well, if you look at the areas that Turkey is doing some drilling, you will see that these areas are, Turkey's arguments about these areas are backed by the international law history. For example, Honorable Lady mentioned some cases, and I want to add one of them. In 1977, there was a maritime border deal between United Kingdom and France, and there are some UK islands right next to the Normandia, and these islands generates only territorial waters, not exclusive economic zones. So if you look at the drilling areas that Turkey is conducting some operations, you will see that this Turkey's arguments about these regions is backed by the history of international law, and during many countries in the Eastern Mediterranean started finding some gas reserves. Turkey didn't have any state power when it comes to the gas drilling. And these countries has done many gas deals with private companies, but now over the years Turkey succeeded at enlarging its drilling operations. Now Turkey as a country has the biggest drilling and survey fleet in anywhere on earth. So these 7 ships, including drilling and survey ships, didn't get bought just to put them on the shore or just to put them on the port. They have to conduct their interests, because the state heavily invested in them, especially after the gas findings in the Black Sea. It was an encouraging development for the Turkish side. So it just showed the fact that Turkey had the know-how, and Turkey had the personnel, Turkey had the people that know how to drill, and Turkey had the good ships. So I think in diplomacy there are ups and downs, and Turkey will have to play the game of diplomacy, and sometimes gunboat policy, diplomacy, and sometimes orange race will stop, sometimes will continue, but at the end orange race is there to find the gas, and I don't think that current political will of Turkey doesn't, I think, is not willing to give up the Turkish interests in the region.
Dr. Emete Gözügüzelli, since obviously you're a prominent scholar on the subject, what is the solution to the Cyprus conflict? Please summarize.
Actually, the logical things to make a cooperation in the region. For example, in the case of the Cyprus issue, in 2011 and 2012 and later the 2016, Turkish Cypriot side offered a proposal to Greek Cypriots over the establishment of the common joint zones for the hydrocarbon activities and equal power sharing with this committee, and they can make together some search and they share the revenues just like that. But the Greek Cypriot side refused that. This is the same situation with the Greece and the Turkish relations. Most of the time we see that Turkey make some proposals to solve their issues in the case of the equitable results. The equitable results or equity is very important for Turkey, at least to reach an equitable results in the case of some problems. This is important thing. I mean that, in fact, in accordance to the international law, the statute of the International Court of Justice 38 ordered to all states in any disputes, they should make a negotiation first, and they should reach an agreement, but this agreement should reach to equitable results. This is the important thing. It's stated in the UNCLOS also with the 74 and the 83 articles. All agreements should be based on the equitable results. So that's why Turkey today stated the equitable results is necessary for everyone. So Mr. Erdogan called the all states, including the Turkish Cypriot state, should be here to meet and discuss their problems with dialogue. This is very important and good chance for all states to create a synergy, a cooperation together. This is important thing to reach, to create or stability in the region, because of course we know that we have energy resources in the region. So the global powers still in a competition, how they can get some sources in the region. So where is the oil, where is the gas? We hear always the instability and insecurity or clashes. So Mr. Erdogan and also the Turkish Foreign Affairs, Mr. Çavuşoğlu, always called all sides to be or to act in accordance to the international law, and all actions should be based on the equity, because actually equity, it's not means an equal power sharing or equal revenue sharing. It bases on the international law, which the many case law we see that the coastal length is very important for determining the entitlement of the power in the region, who has the right to capture the most of the area, the long area, or I mean that. So, of course, Turkey will follow the international law and rules to enhance or to solve the problems with dialogue and with cooperation. But we will see what will happen in the future. And I hope that Turkey's stance will prevent many conflicts in the region, because Turkey knows very well what he did. or will do in the future. So certainty, equity, and the stability are integral part of the delimitation to reach equitable result. So good faith is an essence of the delimitation rule, and Turkey show its determinants in a goodwill to solve these disputes. So I think the dialogue at the end should be provided, and both sides in the region should come together and arrange a conference with the auspices of the Turkey, of course, or with the leadership of Turkey. But on the other side, we see that some organization, Mr. Ilker also stated the gas forum established today, and they signed a signature, and they ignore the Turkey. They try to ignore Turkey, and they try to move only themselves. But it is not good for at least for the region. So if the Greece consists to insist on the Sevilla map at the end, the crisis will erupt again. This is the clear. And Turkey knows what they want. Turkey knows its rights in the international law. So Turkey will continue to show its determinants on the region. But of course, today, the grace diplomacy, I think Turkey offered to to others. We should think that the grace diplomacy, because the rightful side is Turkey in the region. So everyone should understand, I think. So at the end, I would like to state that some important things. Of course, political will, it's an main principles to reach a solution. So if Greek side continues to show its inconsistency stance during that process, nothing will change. The crisis will erupt again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emete Gözügüzelli, for being on Tactical Talk. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. It's nice to hear you again.
Thank you so much, Ilker Sezer, for joining us from Turkey. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This was Dr. Emete Gözügüzelli, a prominent intellectual and scholar residing in northern Cyprus, and also Ilker Sezer, a journalist from Istanbul. We were discussing the topic of the tensions rising in the Eastern Mediterranean. Until the next episode of Tactical Talk, this is Zain Khan. Take care and goodbye.